Yes, here we are once again, which of course means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. It's time today for the season premiere, season 14 of the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, we're here every week is Wednesday, as I said, at noon on the Temptations Beach Facebook page if you want the video, either live or on demand later. Also, the Jet YouTube channel and at Temptations on Twitter. If you just want the podcast, of course, you can do that as well. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show on Google Play, iHeartRadio, and on Podbean as well. I am Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs you can search out. He is the man himself, Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville, the hemp quarters on a very frigid Wednesday. How are things this week? The start of season 14 in the world of Temptations, Beach.
Cold indeed. No doubt about it. It is cold. It is true. Welcome, everyone, to the season 14 of the High Noon Hemp Show. Man, just chugging along here on the
Right.
High Noon Hemp Show. That's for sure. Welcome. It's going to be another good show. I'm sure of it. Got a lot of good stuff crammed in there for you. Even though I say crammed and there's no time limit, we'll stay here all day if we have to. You can. If you got to take a break and come back, that's okay. We're on YouTube. We'll be published later. You don't have to watch it all right now. But a lot of stuff going on with us right now. I feel like, we're all over the place. That is for sure, the number one. And I mentioned it last week a little bit about, I think I mentioned, I'm not even sure if I did mention that the City Beat best of. Voting has officially started. So you just go to vote.citybeat.com. We would appreciate a vote for Green Sustainable Store, which we are the reigning champs of right now, and Smoke Store. We are also the reigning champs in that category. Now, if we really want to hit the Hempfecta, which I would really be more of the Tri-Hempta, we'll call it the Tri-Hempta, then we should win the CBD retailer. And I cannot believe, like the first couple of years they had this category, we didn't even place. Of course, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even know that it existed. I know the first year I didn't even know the category existed, and we didn't place, which was like, how can that even be? I mean, we have been selling CBD probably 3 times longer than any other location. We were one of the only locations to sell CBD during the supposed illegality of CBD in Ohio. I didn't move to Kentucky, and you know what? That guy's right there on the top of the list. The guy that moved to Kentucky. And again, this is best of. It's the area. I think that again, Kentucky businesses and Indiana businesses can win. Depending on the region of whatever the category may be or what kind of categories there are. And so anyway, we are really competing against 3 states, what I call the high state area. And so, we have won Smoke Shop. I don't know how many times. I've lost count of how many times. I shouldn't say it so c'est la vie. Here's the deal. This just proves that we don't rest on our laurels. We continue to strive to be the best, no matter what it is that we're selling. I can personally attest to this as the person that pretty much approves and buys a lot of or all the products for the most part. Although I will give my son Stefan should get some credit for the smoke shop stuff because he manages a lot of that for me and is a lot more in tuned as to what is going on in that world than I am. Even I am smart enough to know that. And so, again, we really do appreciate that one. And that's the one we've won the most. Green Sustainable, we won last year, I believe, for the first time. We had placed previous years in the top 3 and never got the first place win. One reason is because Park and Vine, which was, I have to admit, I truly appreciated losing to Park and Vine when it came to Green Sustainable, because when they operated, they were a truly great green, sustainable store with everything, a whole range of products. And they had hemp products too, but it wasn't hemp based, but it was all natural. It was, no matter what it was, they sold paints that were more all natural. Just little categories of stuff. And then they moved and became, kind of more of a grocery store / environment. And then unfortunately, the owner kind of just decided to move on to other things in his life. And so we miss Park and Vine as competition. I truly appreciated losing to them. And so anyway, vote for if you have one, do it. Because that's the most important one to me, is the green sustainable, to be honest with you. I think it hurts my feelings a little that we haven't done better in the CBD retailer category. I can tell you that. But, I guess our customers weren't voting that year or years in the past. And then, of course, a new category for us to even be eligible for in the last couple of years is podcast. And so, that would be great. That'll be up to you guys out there watching the High Noon Hemp Show right now to go nominate. And you have to write that one in. So you have to write in High Noon Hemp Show right now, because we're not in the category. And I think I think we're in the CBD retailer. We're listed anyway. But I think you have to write us in for the podcast, best podcast. And there wasn't a TV show, which I don't understand why there wasn't a category for best TV show, local TV show. Because I'm sure there's some local TV shows based on Cincinnati and Bengals and sports stuff or whatever that are local. So I don't really understand why there's no category for best local TV show, because I consider this to be a TV show.
That's right.
And so I guess maybe we have to work on nominating a category for the best of. How do you do that? Why day? Because we are a great football team. You'll find out more about that later. That is for sure. We are the real deal. This ain't no Cinderella story here in Cincinnati. It's the real deal. And I never really say this a lot, but one of the reasons why I do follow and love the Bengals, and I have for a while, but even more, is because we do have Bengals that are customers. So I appreciate that for all the sport teams, professional sport teams and whatnot that have come along and shopped in our stores, whether they were visiting Cincinnati or not. Which and I've heard a lot of stories of professional sport athletes coming in the store from other cities, that were visiting and playing against us and whatnot on their free time. So anyway, there you have it. Vote for us, and I'm going to try to even give a little suggestion list of some other places that I would love to see get your vote. And so yes, we deserve it. That is correct. Did I say that? I didn't say why us. And so anyway, or I answered why us. I wasn't saying why us. I was answering why us. Because someone posted why day. I'm sorry. Maybe you meant to put who day and you posted why day. I'm sorry. I read the words that are in front of me.
Who knows?
So if you meant to say who day. Nobody is the answer to that. Nobody. Anyway, more on that later. On with the High Noon Hemp Show, folks. That's for sure. Let's get on with the product spotlight so we can get on with the explanation of the Who Day a little bit for those of you that have no idea what this diatribe is actually about. The first one here is the Medterra. And this was, as you may or may not know, the product spotlight, where we do 4 from the store, 1 from my door, a personal hemp product of mine, and now more where I'm going on and showing you some products you can buy online and find. This week is deodorant, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here's the Medterra stuff. We just got a fresh batch of the 3000 in, which is their most popular. People really love the Medterra product because it's an isolate, and so it was very good. And so back to the Medterra. the 3000, the isolate, there's zero THC in this, and that's why it's very popular with our customers. And so there's those products. The next one is the Colorado Hemp Honey pet products, and so we've got a couple tinctures here, a couple different flavors, salmon, and I forget the other flavor, and I should know. I can't read it.
Bacon.
Bacon, that's it. Bacon. I knew it was something dogs would love, and cats may love that too. I don't know. And then we've also got a balm for any skin issues that your pets might be having as well, from Colorado Hemp Honey. Kind Hemp socks. I talked about these guys last week, I think a little bit. I'm currently trying to place an order with them to get some of their new stuff in, but this is at least a little bit of selection that we have in Sharonville of the Kind Hemp socks. I will tell you this, I don't think they have the colors anymore, and they may have them. I don't even know if you can buy them retail on their website or anywhere. And so most of these are the smalls. I guess the larges really sold out quickly. Most of these are the smaller sizes. And again, I am working on, I haven't heard back from them for some reason, but I'm working on an order of new socks, which they only have the black and natural. And then they do now have a snowboard, a boot, and then the old school double ringed color, kind of natural with double rings of different colors, kind of the old 80s, late 70s, early 80s basketball socks is what I would call them, to be honest with you, is what they remind me of. So, and then the last one, made right here at Planet Everywhere when we were manufacturing goods, is the Planet Everywhere ear warmers. So these are, they Velcro on. Some even actually kind of come down a little bit below the ear. Most of them just kind of go around to keep your ears warm, because it is fragile out there. I don't even know what that means. I just made up a word as to what it is.
People are out in it. They know what you mean.
It's freezing and it's fragile, so it's freezing. I don't know. But anyway, it is cold here in Cincinnati. So I don't know what part of the world you're in. But know that it is in the single digits here, which is, that's super cold for us, in my opinion. But January and February brings that here. We have to be used to it too. Mm-hmm. And of course, we even have a couple of the black and orangish ones over there, if you look closely, left on the rack. And I will have to say that I didn't have one of those before today, and noticing how many we actually had, now I do. It's very, very handy. It's true. You'll see why in the next segment, for sure. But okay, and now the one from my door, as I like to say. And I was just recently, I saw a post, what was your favorite class in high school? And woodshop was my favorite class in high school. We actually learned architectural drawing, basic architectural drawing, and woodworking. And again, one of my favorite classes ever. Reminded me that I have a little hemp wood shop, and that's WOOD and WOULD, as in hemp wood. That's right. But anyway, the kitchen counter here, made out of hemp. We had to seal it because you can tell, like, if you look at the other hemp board that's over on the side and on top. We did seal that eventually as well. This is a very early picture. Because normally on the shelves we don't seal them, so they just stay kind of that natural color. But if you put liquids on them, it kind of swells up, because it is, as they would say, a chipboard or a press board, with what we were working on. The new hempwood stuff is a little different, but the press board is like this, and I think there's still press board. There is some press board possibly available in America. I'll look into that. But then again, we sealed the counter, and it looks just like this now. And this was at least 5 years ago, I want to say, that we did this. I'm gonna have to really think hard. It was probably even longer than that. And it's holding up and looks great for a hemp kitchen counter. So there you go. There's the one from my door on the product spotlight. Now, the more of the product spotlight, which I have added just recently. I am, no fan of old school deodorants. I have said it a lot on the show. I'm in life, period. Um, and so we have tried to sell hemp deodorants when they were available. We have a CBD one right now, which isn't really hemp oil, so doesn't really count in my opinion. Um, but this one has become my favorite, the Schmitz, and I get mine on Amazon. So if you shop on Amazon, you can get your Schmitz on Amazon. Um, they are, slightly scented. They're not like really strong scented. There's a couple different scents, and it's just really good, clean, I like to call it, deodorant. All natural is what you're looking for. Um, and so, and then the next one is my, I guess, find of the week, because this is a Target. You good Old Spice, of course. Old Spice getting into the game, making a hemp oil deodorant. So kudos to Old Spice, in all honesty. And again, I found this is at Target.com. And so if you're looking for any of these products later and you forget where they may or may not be, go to Google and then Google hemp deodorant. And then I just hit the shopping button on when you search actual Google. Um, and these popped up. And so again, I know Old Spice with a good old hemp deodorant. So, and again, not only is this my find of the week because I'm, kudos to Old Spice, one of the biggest brands out there. But it's like super cheap.
Yeah.
Now, how much hemp oil is in there? Is there still some bad stuff in there that you don't want, and they've just put the hemp oil in there as a marketing stick? Check those things out. I cannot speak for all the products, especially on the more, because a lot of the more products, I just go online and I find them for you, so you can go online and buy those products if we don't carry them on our shelves, or you can't get into a hemp patients, which is, that burdens me that you can't. So this is why I've added the more section. So anyway, check out the rest of the ingredients, to make sure they're still not loading it up with a bunch of stuff you don't want. Aluminum being the biggest one, and there are some others that you want to stay away from. You can't pronounce it or it looks strange, you probably don't want it. It's hard to say there. But anyway, I love that. This next deodorant is Jason's, and Jason's brand has been out there for a while. And I have used Jason's as an all natural. I think I actually have a Jason's in one of my cabinets somewhere. I have multiple places that I stay sometimes. I move around the 275 loop of Cincinnati. Anyway, and it's a bar. It's a bar deodorant. This is actually a spray-on deodorant with hemp oil, which I find to be fascinating. I've never seen. This is the first time that I have ever seen a spray-on deodorant that contained hemp oil. So obviously the hemp products sell well for Jason's, and they continue to broaden their horizons there with this particular spray-on deodorant. And they're an all-natural. They're a good product company. They try not to put crap in their stuff. I'm pretty sure of that. That's probably why I found them originally, looking for an all-natural or hemp deodorant. This next one is a new one, and I will say the Jason's was just on Google Shopping, or I don't know how it worked, but again, it popped up. It didn't take you to their page to buy it. It took you somewhere else. And same with this Native brand that I found. Again, I don't know much about them, and so. Obviously look into them, but the name would imply that they are using old school or clean products in their deodorant. And so, if you want to go out on a real limb that I cannot attest for, and then let me know, say, hey, try the native, see what you think about it. Then that would be good for us too. So I know I'm using the Schmitz right now, and I think I have a Jason's, and I feel like I'm gonna have to go back and look and see if I don't have I know when I bought the Schmitz, I bought a bunch of it. I bought like every flavor that they had on Amazon. And I know, again, you can go to schmitz.com and they have their products there too. And so either way, there you have it. More in the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Which, of course, brings us, there's not a category, I guess, on City Beat, as I said last week, for best internet segment. But if there was, trust me, we would win every year. I mean, there'd be
another write-in category.
We would destroy the competition if it were a category. But, it is what it is. Now, what does Beach wear to celebrate the greatness, the long time coming greatness of the Bengals, and to celebrate how absolutely cold it is in the Cincinnati area? Well, we're about to find out. Because as you know, every week I ask Beach a very important question, and he gives me very important answers, both visually and audioly. And that is the Beachwear segment, where I ask Beach, what are you wearing, Beach?
What are you wearing, Beach? This week, that's right, we celebrate the Cincinnati Bengals going to the AFC Championship game with a little black and orange. I will have to say, I could have worn another coat. I'm sure of that. I was just going from the house to the car, and then the car, and I got pulled in the garage here, so I'm not outside. But even then, I could have probably worn a thicker coat. But on my head there, you will see one of those Planet Everywhere ear warmers, keeping what's left of my ears warm. Over the top of my baseball cap, which is I should probably get to and then I got to get back to my script here a little bit and think about what I'm doing. This is a Hang 10. I forgot who made my hat. Hang 10, and it says Aloha. And my Aloha is hi and goodbye to the Kansas City Chiefs. Aloha. And my t-shirt is, I believe it's an old Ono. I'm not positive on this. Printed here with the Hemptations University at Planet Everywhere logo. And then my jacket is a hemp hoodlam jacket. I will have to say it's more of a spring jacket. I should have worn my thick hemp hoodlam. I'm sure I will next week, unless it's the day next week where it's supposed to get up to 60. We'll see what happens. I've got my Hempest black pants, and again, hempest.com for their products, which is a great line of all kinds of good stuff. I don't know if they still make these pants or not, but I think they do actually still make this line of Hempest pants. My Green Springs Technology pen hanging out of my pocket there, as always, with a pair of Satori briefs underneath it all. My socks are Enviro Textile socks that we tie-dyed here years ago as well. Finally breaking those out. First time those have been seen on the show. I'm almost positive of that. And then bringing it all together down there on my feet are my Adidas. And so there you have it, celebrating the Cincinnati Bengals. Hoo-day, hoo-day. Hoo-day is what we chant. Hoo-day, hoo-day. Hoo-day gonna beat them Bengals? Nobody. And I will say on a side note, on the years past, I have had season tickets, and we were actually in the section that started that chant after every touchdown, and it has now become a loudspeaker chant that they play. True story. That was my section, our section. It was a group of guys. it just built up over the years. We watched it build up over the years. And then when I moved seats to much better seats, the store was doing really, really well back then. Um, they did the chant over the loudspeaker after we scored a touchdown. And so I am a fan. I'm not just one of those Johnny come latelys because we're winning. I'm a Johnny been waiting patiently.
It's been a long
This is
35 years.
what I've been doing. The last time we were going to go to the Super Bowl, I was at that playoff game, and Dalton, our quarterback at the time, hurt his knee, and we didn't. That was one of the best teams that was really going to make a run at it, and then we didn't even win that game. So anyway, but we are the real deal now. So anyway, thanks for rooting for us. If you're on some other part in the world and you don't know who to root for in the AFC Championship game, make it the Bengals.
That's right.
I'm wearing hemp in black and orange for them. All right, there you have it. If you're wondering, what are you wearing, Beach, to celebrate? Now you know. And I'll be wearing orange hemp all week long. Because I actually do have enough of it from when these shirts were being made. I don't know how many years ago. I don't think this color is even available anymore, but I got a lot of them because my college colors are black and orange too. Shout out to Heidelberg University. I graduated from there when it was Heidelberg College, but we are black and orange, the student princes. Anyway, let's get on to some news. The most interesting part of the show, actually. I have to say. Oh, we miss you. We miss you, Ron. I could see your smiling face around every once in a while, that's for sure. Love you, buddy. Okay, so here's the big one. You may have seen this week if you follow any type of cannabis news or CBD news in the last couple of weeks. We've been seeing a lot of this, and I thought I would bring it up again because I've talked about these studies that were prior to this a year ago, 6 months ago. But the biggest one now is a study at the U of L, University of Louisville, shows that CBD may block COVID-19 from spreading and also treat it. And the most interesting part of this, and this is where these other COVID studies were found. They weren't directly related to studying whether CBD and COVID could have a link. They were studying something else with CBD, and then all of a sudden they found this out. The study was actually on adults with epilepsy that were using a prescribed CBD regimen. And what they found was, and again, correlation, causation, more to be seen. What they found was there was a much lower rate of COVID positive in the epilepsy patients, adults that were using CBD as a regimen. Now, there were other studies that have been done that we have seen. One was actually at a dental school that showed promise that CBD fought the major side effect of COVID, whatever they call it. They call it SARS-2, whatever, something. But it's really the side effect that gets in your lungs, and that's the one, from my understanding, is most likely to kill you. And so there have been previous studies that shows, again, as a treatment positively. And then there was an unrelated study of, which was kind of interesting, but it actually showed that CBD had dropped the amount of seizures in epileptic children by 86%. And so now all of a sudden, once again, because the study showing the CBD, the COVID results, again, wasn't really on COVID. More and more studies need to be done. I think that I will have to mention, once again, there was one more study, University of Chicago, I believe, that was all done in test tubes, but did in fact show promise once again, as a treatment. Um, and so once again, they want to move on to clinical trials with that particular study. So, they proved in a test tube that CBD fights COVID. They're going to move on to human trials now, clinical trials. And so, these are the things we need to see. And these things need to be sped up. I think they might have even gotten a grant. Because again, the first time I reported that CBD shows promise with COVID was over a year ago. So, I feel like we should have 50 studies, either proving it or not proving it at this point. It's like, come on, they're jamming this thing down us. And again, it's affecting everyone. No one, I've said it before, right, wrong, or different, whether you're vaccinated, not vaccinated, everybody's probably going to get this.
Yep.
But how nice would it be to know that, if you do end up getting it, and I still recommend vaccinating yourselves because I did make getting it a lot smoother, I think. But knowing you can, run down to the Hemptations and get your CBD oil to treat it and hopefully make it go away faster. And ours sure didn't last long. Even when I lost my smell and my taste, it was 3 days, maybe 4 days. It wasn't very long. And, I'm a pretty frequent user of cannabis in all its forms, all its isolates, all its cannabinoids, all its terpenes, all its everything, from CBD to CBN to THC to whatnot. And so, I can't wait to see. This is really going to push more and more because this is really making all these different things are really putting it up on the radar as something that studies should take aware of. No doubt about it. Let's see here. Article in Neuroscience News findings published in the journal. Okay. Published in the journal Free Radical Biology and Medicine suggested that CBN protects neurons from oxidative stress and cell death, two major contributors of Alzheimer's. So that's going to open up some eyes too. Everybody, everybody is looking for either preventative, and I don't think that you can have a cure for Alzheimer's because it does damage, and then once that damage is done, you can't go backwards. What this study showed, once again, is that CBN protects the areas of the brain where Alzheimer's has, gets into and affects. And so CBN is cannabinol. It is another one. Right now, our customers are finding it to be, better on the sleep aid aspect of things. And so, and again, I think one reason why CBD works so well as a sleep aid and CBN is maybe working as a sleep aid is because, again, it calms the brain, calms the body, and I think makes it easier to get better sleep. And this study here, is basically proving that CBN is going to parts of the brain to help them one way or another. As we know it does, to further that, I do try to explain every once in a while on this show, the human body has a endocannabinoid receptor system, okay, from the brain to our fingertips to our toes, runs through the body. Better referred to sometimes as CB1 and CB2, and those are two different networks upon this receptor system that takes in cannabinoids and these isolates and these things that we get from cannabis, and then distributes them throughout the body as to where the brain thinks it needs it. That's why it works so well. That's, that's why cannabis has been a medicine for literally thousands of years, because early humans discovered this in the world of cannabis, uh, and and it's true. And this is the medical proof of it, And it's so funny how long the government went saying that cannabis had no medical benefit. That's why it was scheduled as it's scheduled, still scheduled as it's scheduled, because the federal government says cannabis has no medical benefit. Yet medical science has admitted and puts on charts the endocannabinoid system. Again, it baffles me sometimes. And so, if you know someone, if someone in your family is prone to Alzheimer's, look into CBN, and we carry CBN. Uh, we have, I think, a tincture right now in capsules as well. But I'm not saying that to sell you anything. Look into it. Find CBN wherever you may be locally if you think it can help someone or yourself who may be going through, or possibly have family members that went through Alzheimer's, and you sure don't want to, if you can avoid it, or postpone it for as long as you can. My step grandmother had Alzheimer's, and she came to visit us for a couple weeks. And it was probably a month or so. And again, I think that to relieve some of the other family. And I tell you, it was scary. Honestly, it was scary. She would jump back on the steps if I was passing her, and she wouldn't know who I was. And I just, talked to her maybe an hour. I mean, I was a kid. And so I was old enough to understand, there was something wrong, but I remember my stepdad had to talk to her on the phone for 15 minutes just to convince her that he was her son. And then sometimes that did or didn't work to have the rest of the conversation. So it is one of the hardest, in my opinion, one of the hardest diseases to live with as a family member, because it's just tragic to watch someone not remember. I mean, it makes them a little bit violent and edgy and whatnot, I think, too. And so it's a tough one, man. Anything we can do to fight Alzheimer's is great for anyone who's ever had a loved one who's had Alzheimer's. Here are the Sisters of the Valley. The Sisters of the Valley. There should be a picture. Did I send you a picture of the Sisters of the Valley? Truly blessing the world. They're going to give away 13,000 high CBD seeds. The story in itself is somewhat tragic, not so blessed, as it were. The sisters operate a cannabis farm in California, from my understanding. Something went wrong, and I think it was CBD, and maybe they well, as we say, they got popped hot, so to speak, for having too much THC. Could be 0.4% or higher. I didn't get the real explain, but they had to destroy like acres and acres, and it actually had something to do with how much land they had. That's what it was. Somewhere in this weird county and whatever, you couldn't have so much cannabis, and so they made them destroy it. Long story short, somehow there were plants left in the fields. Okay, these plants produced seeds. These seeds, and they basically it's called Weebarn, BAIRN, and it's basically a breeding of 3 or 4 different CBD strains. I know I saw Charlotte's Web in there, and a couple, and so they don't really know what was what, because they just let whatever was in the field lay, so to speak, and somehow they ended up with all these seeds of this very unique strain. They're not, now they should be higher in CBD. They even mentioned that some of them may be as equal in CBD as THC. and so Delta 9, I should say. And so I don't know what's going on there, but if you're a customer of the Sisters of the Valley, you may be acquiring. I think they're just going to mail them out to all their customers, little seeds and envelopes, some free CBD seeds. So that's pretty awesome. Good for them. And, it's a terrible loss. And I do believe that I did see that whatever law this was that made them have to destroy these plants to begin with has now been changed already, and so hopefully they can go back to doing whatever they were doing and get their money back. Nike. Okay, now I think Nike has heard me in their ear every time they've released a hemp Nike this year. It's had very little hemp on it. So as part of their new, they call it, let me get back to my script here, Move to Zero line, which I assume means to move to zero carbon neutral and zero waste and all those things, a very earth friendly shoe. I believe that all of the upper is actually made from hemp. Okay, so we're very excited about this. Once again, choosing very unique color schemes to sell us this shoe, which again, I don't really understand that. I'm sure that there will be a very limited release. They will sell out instantly because, again, it's very hard because of the collectors. But why not make a shoe that you could put on the shelves of every Foot Action, every shoe store out there, that the average person would want to put on their foot. And I think they're going to do a couple different color schemes of that, and they're doing two lines. So they're doing the Blazer Mid, which I believe is this one, even though that's a low top, or this is the Air Force One. I think this is the Air Force One. I'm sorry, this is the Air Force One. The next picture is the Blazer. So this is called the Blazer. This show is actually called Blazer. And again, that to me looks like a high top, not a mid cut. But anyway, again, a little bit, the Tar Heels fans will like those because of the light blue, but why isn't a red swoosh with red or black with red? Anyway, once again, questioning their color scheme sometimes, but this is mostly natural. And I do believe they may be making some other color schemes in these two shoes. And once again, for all the Nike haters, and I know there's a lot, and yes, Nike has done a lot of damage to the planet and to humans. I know that. Supporting their ability or their effort to make an all-natural or a better shoe for the planet, is the only way to convince them to keep doing it. I can tell you that. So I'll do what I can. I need to go check the Nike app, see when those are getting released. Get in line now. Chances of getting them are slim to none, but at least they're using a lot more hemp in the shoe. And I don't know why they're not trying to develop a better hemp canvas for a line of shoes either, because this is more kind of a, and this is most of the Nikes that I have kind of have this weave on it. The old running shoes didn't. They had a couple different weaves where I think the running shoes should be made more of a hemp canvas material, where this is more of like a knit, honestly, kind of weave, specialty knit weave. Back to the old FDA. How about this? The FDA has approved a clinical trial for opioid addiction with a drug that contains CBD. And again, we're still waiting to hear. The new FDA guy hasn't done anything when it comes to CBD, even though there is pressure from Congress. There is a bill out there trying to make its way through Congress that will force the FDA to approve CBD products for over the counter. so to speak. Even though they're not illegal now, you just can't say they're FDA approved. You can't give them any nutritional value henceforth. Um, Now, what I think is interesting about this, and this is what we're going to see more and more with pharmaceutical companies, is CBD is not going to be the only drug. So, in order for them to get the patent or be FDA approved to get the patent on a drug, you know, they're all going to start working out their own specialty formulas. You know, even if it's 98 CBD and then some other mixture, and that 2% is something that they own, and nobody else can make that particular specific formulation of drug because they can't, you know, they can't say or prove a 100% CBD drug and then say that CBD products are illegal because this is a drug, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't know. And again, I don't know why you would do that anyway, where you could go anywhere and get 100% CBD products or products that contain CBD and, you know, whatever. But I do see this being the new game of the pharmaceutical companies, when it comes to CBD and all these Delta 8 and all these, again, that they're going to start messing with. Is they're going to add it into, base the drug around it, and then add in a couple other little ingredients that you may or may not need even as a base, so they can patent that particular formula of CBD. And you know, that's the only way I think that they can do it, and that's the way they will do it. That's just my guess. Hempsternomus future says this is how the pharmaceutical companies will start looking at it. Oh, here's a really fun one. I really love this one. This guy is great. Article in the Dayton Daily News, and I quote, and this is an article on Delta 8 in Dayton. They are as safe as any over-the-counter product available at the drugstore, said E.R. Beach, owner of Hemptations. Our advice to anyone trying something new has always been first-time use should be done in a safe environment. It was a great article. I appreciate them coming to me and asking me my opinion. They go on, I think I mentioned again somewhere else in the article. And so once again, Delta 8, you know, becoming still as popular as it is. You know, there you have it. You can go to the Dayton Daily News website, I think, and click on the Delta 8 article. So that was kind of fun. I'm glad that they used me. I'm glad that they used my direct quotes that I sent them, as a matter of fact, because it is all true. It is all true. I also mentioned something about how the major, and this is where we're getting the feedback from our customers, is that drowsiness is probably the major side effect of Delta 8, which is what a lot of our customers are looking for. Yeah. Again, you know, they've been using CBD to aid them with sleep, and now they can start using CBN and using Delta 8 maybe a little bit. The thing with the Delta 8 is it has a little bit of physical side effects, so to speak. You feel a little bit, I think, especially if you're not used to, say, Delta 9 THC. But it is, again, you know, if there's a drug on the over-the-counter shelves that says, do not operate heavy machinery on this, that's probably the equivalent of what you may or may not get from side effects. So, you know, that's it. And I'm glad that my voice is finally getting heard on the Delta 8 thing too. We'll be talking about more and more of these because there's a couple new isolates that are going to be hitting the shelves probably next week. So we'll see about those as well. Tree Hugger article, 6 best eco-friendly bath mats. I think we got a picture of
Mhm.
The best hemp one, which is the Rognique, the Hemp Terry Bath Mat. And these guys, it's a great website. Just add a .com onto the end of their name there. And I'm pretty sure Organic is how I believe it's supposed to be. Organic. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but I used to shop there quite a bit because they have quite a unique um, uh, hemp inventory, so to speak. I don't think I mentioned them, and I should have looked to see. But last week I did hemp sheets as the more, and I don't know if I mentioned them, but I know that they've had them, for as long as anyone as well. And so here's their bath mat. Um, Perhaps next week I will shoot pictures of and more, or one from my door, which are my bath mats. We'll see. Stay tuned for season 14, episode 2 next week to find out. This last little bit will go out. Looks like Sanjay Gupta, and I can't believe Dr. Sanjay Gupta has finally been used. His image has been illegally used by the CBD scammers, and I can't believe that it took them so long.
Yeah.
And honestly, as you may or may not know, watching the show, we tend to report there's a huge scam, and it's been going on for years. I've been reporting this for years. I did just report recently that Clint Eastwood actually sued these guys and won. And so why I don't know how anyone's still getting away with it, but they're basically selling or stealing celebrity images and then using them to sell CBD products that may or may not. And I don't know. I doubt they even contain CBD. I don't know if they do or don't. And so it's been a huge scam for years and still going on, crazily enough. And Dr. Sanjay Gupta has the latest to have his image stolen and used by CBD scammers. So anyway. All right. Well, that's all the news we have this week. A little bit of events, not too much still going on. January 21st to the 22nd coming up here. Actually, that already happened. I don't know why that's still on my list. We will move to February 1, which is the medical marijuana meetup at Mad Frog Brewing at 8 p.m. The reason I mentioned that, you may be like, Beach, I thought this was a hemp show. And you're right. The reason I mention that is because I go as often as I can. This is a once-a-month event here in Cincinnati, and I go as often as I can to represent hemp, to represent CBD and Delta 8 and all those, if anyone has any questions or answers for that. And so, again, that's the first Tuesday of the month, every month here in Cincinnati at Mad Frog Brewing, and it usually starts about 8 p.m. February 4th is the Southern Idaho Hemp Producers Meeting. So if you're in Southern Idaho or in Idaho at all, and you want to learn more about hemp production and whatnot, it's in Buell. It's in Buell, 1000 Springs Mill Road, Buell, Idaho. And again, that's the Southern Idaho Hemp Producers Meeting. February 12th, you have Hemp Today, Growing and Marketing Industrial Hemp. And this is at McHenry County College in Crystal Lake, Illinois. February 28th through the 1st, you have the 4th annual, this is a virtual thing, 4th annual Industrial Hemp Summit. And that's coming from the Advanced Learning in Danville, Virginia. But it is a virtual event if you wish to attend. And then the end of March, one of the biggest events of the year, if not the biggest, bestest, baddest of them all. And I say that because I've been there. And I love everything they do. It's the March 23rd through the 25th is NOCO, the Hemp Expo out in Denver. So there you have it, folks. All the things that are going on. Again, I usually end the show by answering any questions anyone has in the Ask Beach Anything. We don't have any questions there or my thoughts. This has definitely been a show packed of my thoughts, so I feel like I'm going to leave you there, folks. Okay. Happy Wednesday. If you're watching now, we appreciate it. If you're watching later, at any point. We appreciate that. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next week.